Okay, we're going to start again. Good morning, Miami! Before we start, we'd like to be one of our big supporters, George Joseph, CEO of Dade County Federal Credit Union. Can you come on up?
How privileged are we to live in this wonderful county, Miami-Dade County.
We didn't announce
George Joseph, as Grant said, I'm the CEO of Dade County Federal Credit Union, and it's an honor for us to sponsor this breakfast here this morning with Miami newspaper. We have some amazing people here. I'm not going to try to do an introduction. I'm going to leave that for Grant. But I'd like to just plug the credit union here. We've served this community for close to 90 years. We started off originally as the credit union for county employees. And now we operate and work with anyone who lives, works, worship, or attends school in this amazing city of Miami. All of Miami-Dade. Thank you all for being here.
Next up, the mayor of Miami-Dade County. You know, our motto here is to make Miami better every day. And this mayor is making Miami great. Let's hear it from Mayor Cava.
Thank you. Yes, I do get around. But I remember when it was 2014 and I was thinking about running for office, and I came over here and I met with Michael Miller right over there. He told me I was a real long shot. Anyway, I like to tell that joke. But I love them. They do such a great job. It's fantastic to be with all of you in this beautiful room. Thank you. Let's give it up to this wonderful establishment that serves breakfast and coffee and with a smile. Love to be here. So many were recognized and many still to be recognized, but I'm just going to pull out one. Animal Services are in the house. And Ella is here, and it says on Ella, adopt me. She's very sweet. So take a good look at Ella before you leave here today, everyone. Well, today I was asked to come for a special job, and that is to introduce someone that I brought into my administration, James Reyes, who's your speaker today. James, of course, is our Chief of Public Safety. I found him in Broward, but he is a Miami-Dade boy, and he was serving up in Broward, running the administration of the sheriff's office and also running the jails. So we needed someone to run our jails, and we were so fortunate to find James. And honestly, I don't know how many of you know about our jails, but you know, right now I'm the sheriff, right? Till January, I'll be the sheriff of Miami-Dade County, and it's been a beautiful ride. I've been very proud to serve. I'm also in charge of the jails, Miami-Dade County jails, but our jails were in trouble. And we had a federal court suit that was telling us that if we did not fly right, they were going to take over our jails. So I was not having it. I wanted to be sure we could turn things around. And I was so fortunate that we could find James, and he did it. In 8 months, he turned our jails around, and we are now in substantial compliance with our federal mandates. So he came in December of 2022, imagine, just a little while ago. And he did such a great job, and he found his successor, Sharia Green, our Director of Corrections and Rehabilitative Services. She's really good, but you should have seen her in the red suit last night. Oh, yes, very good. So she's doing a fantastic job. But we decided to give James a broader role as Chief of Public Safety. Now he's responsible not only for corrections, but also for our Miami-Dade Police Department and our Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. And we've got our Chief, Jadala, from Fire Rescue with us here today. Please, Chief, if you would stand up. He of the Surfside fame, so if you were paying attention, Chief Jadala was the one that was dealing with the families each and every day and making a huge difference in their lives. And we owe you a real debt of gratitude. So I just want to say about James that the fact that he did such a great job, that he was able to restore confidence and trust in our correction system, that he has been working hard now since November as our Chief of Public Safety. And, you know, we're an integrated team, and he has done a fantastic job. He's certainly gained what's the word? Eternal trust. and those who meet him as well. And he is now, oh, there's Stephanie Daniels, the first woman director of Miami-Dade Police Department. So that's it. Those are the three that he works with every day. Actually, if you could all just stand together, because it's quite the team. Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a beautiful journey. Our police department, the finest in the nation. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And, I like to say that the fire department and astronauts are the two most trusted lines of work that we have. So we know we have a great team, and James has been at the helm. And under his leadership, we're doing even better responses, reducing our crime rate, reducing our violence, quick responses, not just preventing crime, but solving crime, and making sure that we are keeping everybody safe. So I'm so pleased and proud to have been invited to introduce James today. It's James's day, so come on up, James.
Good morning. I almost want to imitate Grant Miller right now, but I don't want to let you all down. But how about we recognize him? Because he recognizes everybody, but no one recognized Grant. Grant, thank you. Thank you for the invite. Casa Cuba, our credit union partners that are always so loyal and so appreciative of us. We're appreciative of you. Thank you so much. So, yes, I am your Chief of Public Safety. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor, for this opportunity, and thank you all for coming out and partaking to truly recognize, not me, but recognize the leaders that you already heard of today. The mayor took a little bit of my thunder away because there's certain introductions that I wanted to do for each of them, because I wouldn't be able to be up here today if it wasn't for them, their effort, their commitment, and their leadership. And I think that's what, if I want to discuss anything today with you, is about leadership. Because without servant leadership, I am not here before you today. I'm a big proponent, probably the biggest advocate you'll ever hear about or ever meet about servant leadership. And for me, as you heard, I grew up professionally at the Broward Sheriff's Office. I did 22 years there. Very rewarding career. I got to work for 4 different sheriffs, very different leaders, Democrats, Republicans, and I think one of the biggest accomplishments, looking back at my trajectory there, was the fact that the teams that we built were so effective, so efficient. We identified talent and empowered that talent in a way that we ended up getting promoted under each and every sheriff, and now my 5th boss, Mayor Cava. So if I have to say any special accomplishments, is I'm 5 for 5. I'm hoping this is it. I'm hoping this is the end, because when Miami-Dade County came calling, honestly, I was at the pinnacle of my career. I was currently the Colonel Executive Director of the Broward Sheriff's Office. I thought I had reached the pinnacle of my career. One little tidbit the mayor left out. In true Miami-Dade County form, you would imagine if they did a talent search, which they did nationally, it would be somebody from Dade County, right, that would have reached out and said, hey, what's this colonel about at Broward Sheriff's Office? But in true Miami-Dade County form, we had to take the long way. So it was Miami-Dade, Colorado, Boise, Idaho, who called me to see if I wanted to come back home to Miami-Dade County. So go figure, true Miami-Dade County. Now that explains why we have as much traffic as we do, right? So as soon as I was told that the opportunity was to come back home, it was a no-brainer. I was truly all in. Especially when I heard the challenge that was before us. And it was well documented, the challenges that existed in Miami-Dade Corrections at the time, and I was all in. Actually, the challenge reinvigorated me, and it was a welcome process to come back home. And I can tell you that we did a lot of different things, and I have to commend the mayor on allowing me to be myself as a leader and challenge the status quo and really bring servant leadership to Miami-Dade County. One of the first things I identified early on was the fact that staff, particularly officers and civilian staff, were not heard. Their needs were not met. And as all of you know, if you don't have the buy-in from your staff, you could implement the best policies, you could have the best procedures known to mankind. They're not going to be followed if you don't have the buy-in from the staff. So one of the first things I did was to flip the organizational structure upside down. Stop meeting with command staff, start meeting with line staff. And I think some folks were, especially in middle management, uncomfortable with that, but it was a necessary evil. Because what it did for us is it allowed us as a command to really hear from the boots on the ground what the needs were and where we had to deploy our resources to better equip them to be more effective and more efficient. And more effective and more efficient officers translates into better public safety for everybody in the room. And I take a lot of pride in what we did. Within 3 or 4 months, we started seeing the positive outcomes from empowering the talent that was there and entrusting them with the decision making and giving them the resources necessary. So like every good leader, when you start making progress, you need a force multiplier. Sometimes that force multiplier might be technology. Other times that force multiplier might be a specific policy. For me to have a larger, more wide reach, that force multiplier is here today. Her name is Sharia Green, and she's right here. So Sharia, like me, I was in the pinnacle of my career, I thought. She was in the pinnacle of retirement, she thought. Until I called her, and Dade, like for me, is her home. It was a no-brainer. I knew it wasn't going to take much, and it didn't. And once she arrived, then we really started picking up steam. So there's some things that Sharia has done, obviously together, as the mayor mentioned, after being under a federal consent decree for over a decade, we're now under substantial compliance and recognized by DOJ as being as such, and that is a huge accomplishment. It's something that Broward accomplished too while I was there, but in Miami-Dade County it was very special because it truly was a ground up undertaking. It was a challenge that the staff bought into once they bought into the new leadership style. So I would like to bring Sharia up to give you a little tidbit. I can tell you a couple of things that I'm proud of as it relates to her. Come up here, Sharia. First and foremost is that she eats, breathes, and sleeps servant leadership. So she had me at hello as it relates to that. But also, talking department-wide, one of the great things that they're doing is they're focusing a lot on reentry. One thing that we overlook a lot as a community when we talk about public safety is reentry and equipping those people that are in custody with the right tools, especially those that suffer from mental illness or have substance use issues, so that when they go back in the community, they don't continue to reoffend because they don't know how to deal with their issues. So I'm going to turn it over briefly. I emphasize briefly because Sharia will have you here through dinner. So real brief, she'll touch upon a couple of things that she's done under her leadership that I'm proud of.
Thank you, sir. You said briefly. Okay, it was a pleasure. Was that brief? Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today. As Chief was speaking, I was thinking of what I was doing last year this time, which was lying in my bed with my footsies on, drinking coffee. But I think it was the third Friday in April, he reached out to me and asked me if I would come back on this journey with him, and I will share that it was the best decision, probably one of the best decisions that I've made in my life. It's been an awesome experience. My career began at South Florida Reception Center as a clerk typist, and I did retire in 2021 from the Broward Sheriff's Office. Coming back to work last year, I will use the Madam Mayor's words of I hit the ground running. And this has been extremely different for me this go round because my first career, it was me. This time it has been mission. And we have worked very hard collectively with our other partners to increase the employee morale, one of which I'll mention one of our initiatives where we took off our ranks and went out into the field and worked an 8-hour shift as a line staff. And it was just to bridge that gap and to just see what their challenges and their routines are like. And we are working on our reentry efforts, we're working on our MA programs, and it has been nothing but a pleasure to be here. I'm grateful to serve this amazing community.
I think you all could see why it was an easy pick for me. But, so Ray, I apologize, but it's Women's History Month, so just saying. But with that said, obviously the work that we did garnered a lot of recognition, not only locally, throughout the state, nationally. We consistently got reached out to see what we were doing different and how it was that we truly were able to accomplish the turnaround so quickly. And that attention also was garnered from the mayor, to which she ultimately offered me this position to be the chief of public safety, expand my role so that some of the changes and some of the results that we saw in corrections, we could transpose into fire and Miami-Dade Police Department too. So I already mentioned it's Women's History Month, so I'll be remiss as I call up our first female director of Miami-Dade Police Department. I want to add a little more. It's the first time in Miami-Dade County history that we have 2 female directors leading our public safety. So I want to bring that up. Come on. And we're not all touchy-feely. I can tell you, she is strong. She's one of the strongest leaders I've ever met, honestly. But I can tell you that under her leadership, the focus on gun violence, the results as a result of her focus on gun violence. And one thing that I will tell you, there is not a leader anywhere in this country that is more community focused than Stephanie Daniels. She eats, breathes, and sleeps community. I can tell you whether we're talking policy, whether we're talking training, it does not matter. She always finishes off with, what does this or how does this impact our community? And it is a true testament to her and the commitment that she brings to Miami-Dade County. So I'm going to turn it over to her briefly.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning again, everyone. Just to speak just a little bit about some of the programs we're doing when it comes to community. One thing that we're doing, we're making sure that we increase our engagement with our community. I'm always talking about law enforcement supposedly know exactly what the community needs. That's not really the case. So my focus is getting out there in the community, having conversation with the community, and allow them a seat at the table to talk about what their concerns are, and particularly our juveniles. Our juveniles is a focus of mine. They're one of our most vulnerable population, to include our elderly. So my focus is making sure that we get with them, find out what their needs are, and having them at the table with us. Our juveniles are having a lot of issues out there in the community, but we think that we know what they want, and that is not always the case. So the focus is definitely the juveniles as well as our elderly. Another focus of mine when talking about our juveniles is making sure that the programs that we currently have in place is being effective. We have our GVI program, which is our group violence intervention, that focus on individuals who are doing the most violence in Miami-Dade County. So we have an emphasis on that as well as our youth outreach unit, where our officers are mentoring our juveniles, as well as another program that we have is our Turnaround Academy program. These programs are focused on individuals that we think that may be prone to become involved in violence. Our TAP program allows our juveniles not to be arrested, but as an alternative to them to be arrested, we take them through a 13-week program. Excuse me. If they're successful, they're not in the juvenile justice system. Our youth outreach unit, we've been doing that since 2016, and we have over 50 officers that are engaged with our youth that may be prone to get into to gun violence or any type of violence. One thing that we do when we come to our youth outreach unit, we don't just focus on our youth, but we actually focus on the entire family dynamics. So we identify who the youth are, and then we go into that family household and make sure that the family have those resources that they need to be successful. Because we know once we take these kids out of the home but we bring them back, they still going to be affected by what's going on in their home. So we try to find out what their needs are and make sure we try to do our best to kind of fulfill those needs. So that's just a little of the things that we're doing for our youth, and we are also focusing on our elderly, going out there. We understand that our elderly are being impacted a lot now by fraud fraud, where we have individuals taking advantage of them, taking their deeds from them and things like that. So we're really amping our task force to kind of deal with that, make sure our elderly individuals are successful, keeping on the property that they've always had, and making sure that we're providing them with the resources as well. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
All right. Save the best for last. Everybody loves a firefighter. I mean, come on. Of course I'm going to save you for last. No, I can tell you this, and I've had 5 years experience now at the executive level overseeing the administration of fire rescue services between the two counties. And don't look into it too much, but during those 5 years, I've actually worked collaboratively with 4 different fire chiefs. And I can tell you, Miami-Dade County, you have the best fire chief, bar none. Bar none. And he wears the bunker gear more than any fire chief I've ever seen. With that said, I'd like to bring up Fire Chief Reyes. One of the things that truly impressed me upon coming back home to Miami-Dade County from a fire rescue perspective is that all too often when we see fire rescue, we always focus on response, how reactive they are, how quick they are to don their gear when the little bell goes off and they jump in the trucks and they respond. But one of the refreshing things that I found in Miami-Dade County, particularly under the leadership of Chief Tadala, is the amount of proactiveness that they're committed to, the amount of work that they do out in the community, educating the community to try to get in front of some of these reoccurring issues that we see all too often within our community. So I'm going to turn it over to Ray briefly so that he could cover a couple of the initiatives that he has going on.
Thank you. No kiss? You gave the 2 ladies a kiss. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ray Jadala, Fire Chief for Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, but I'm your Fire Chief. Yesterday was my 24th year with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. Thank you, thank you. I have a total of 28 years, 4 years from Palm Beach County, but I want to talk about the initiatives. And, you know, I've been the Fire Chief now for 20 short months. I've been bestowed that opportunity when the mayor tapped me on the shoulder back in August of 2022, and as you may have heard in regards to Surfside, I am a community man. In the last 20 months, thank you. In the last 20 months, you know, I've implemented 3 programs, and all of them are more proactive than reactive. And I know that the fire service is, when the bells go off, the men and women jump on the fire trucks, they jump on the rescue trucks, and they respond to the call, and they get there, and they do what they need to do. But we started 3 programs in the last 20 months. One is our Splash program, which is our water safety. It's not specifically just for swimming. It's the water safety. We've had so many children, so many teenagers that have been drowning, not just in pools, but also in bodies of water. So we've initiated this program with other departments throughout Miami-Dade County, including our faith-based organizations. And in the short, I'd say 10 months, it's really taken off in regards to training, teaching swimming, teaching the abilities to, you know, recognize when to go, when to throw, and when to call 911. Another one that we've implemented is the community paramedic program. This program has been in the infancy stage. It's more of our gauge towards our senior population. So this is where we're teaching first aid, we're recognizing home safety, we're recognizing the medications, we're doing follow-up services, we're trying to provide guidance and even link up with the different services that may be out there for the community. So it's not just about going to the hospital or going to the clinic, but try to guide you towards the proper services. And then the last but not least that has really taken off in the last 10 months is our health program. Our health emergency life protection training. It's a 2-hour CPR awareness, first aid training, stroke awareness that guides and stop the bleed. It guides our individuals, our community members in first aid and stopping the bleed and recognizing, you know, when you recognize a stroke. And I gotta say, in the last few months, we've had a couple of successful stories that have made local media, personnel that have been trained. They've recognized what to do. You may have seen on Channel 7 where a 3-year-old boy was choking on a piece of candy, and one of the government officials that we were actually at North Bay Village that we actually trained knew how to recognize the choking, recognize what needed to be done, perform the Heimlich, and save the 3-year-old boy on camera. So this is just a testament to the program. It's proactive rather than reactive, and I just got to say that I absolutely enjoy the community. And last but not least, I've been working with Chief Reyes now for a few months, and I've got to say, it's not easy when you're running an organization of 3,000, an organization of 6,000, and another organization of over 3,000. But, I got to say that he finds the time for all three of us. He oversees some way 12,000 county employees in some manner. And I have to give him credit where every time I'm calling him late at night, and yes, it is late at night sometimes, he tends to guide you in the right direction. It's not about, you need to do this. He provides you options, he provides you guidance, and that's what Chief Reyes is, a man of, constant guidance. So thank you.
Thank you, Ray. If you all see the pride in the way they speak, I'd ask that you translate the pride that you see or you've heard here today into taking the time when you're out and about in the community to take that 1 second to thank a man or woman in uniform, because we're all a reflection of the folks that are keeping us safe out there in the community, and we can't do it without them. So how about we recognize everybody out there doing the job right now? Thank you very much. And last but definitely not least, we talked about my portfolio. You heard the mayor say corrections, fire, and police. There's a fourth component to my portfolio, and in my eyes is the most important one out of all the four. And I'm looking at them, the community. You are the pivotal, most important part of that chair. The four-legged chair, you're the most important part. If we don't have your support, the chair tilts. We need your support. We appreciate you. Our goal is to reflect your values and what you want to see in our organizations. So that's why we're prioritizing opening those lines of communications so that we reflect what your expectation is. We can't do it without you. Thank you.
I'm leaving for 2 weeks. I'm going to Grant.